that neighbor who lives next to you is actually God sent. And the reason I say this neighbor is God sent is because God gives us people in our lives who are there for times of need. And actually, the proverb that is guiding this conversation is Proverbs 3:29. Do not devise evil against your neighbor, for he dwells by you for safety's sake. It clearly tells us that we should not devise evil, for you never know tomorrow what your need might be. I remember a while back when a neighbor of ours, their child was sick, and a neighbor knew how to drive their car. But on this particular moment, the child had just had a convulsion. They became frantic. The husband was not near them, and I wouldn't per se say we are very tight, but they actually came to my door and knocked. And as they knocked, they asked if I could drive them to the hospital. And as I took this child to the hospital, it didn't matter whether I liked them, whether I cared up for them, or if they knew me. At this moment, the only thing that mattered was that this child's life was important. And we have to remember that our neighbors, and the reason we're even told to love our neighbors is because sometimes you can't be an island by yourself. You may think you have all the tools that are needed to prosper, to succeed, to thrive. You may think you're rich, you're wealthy, but one time or another, the way the system of this world has been set up is you will need someone. Your neighbor can be the person who is living next to you, the person who's seated at your desk at the workplace, the person each and every day you go to eat lunch with. And when you remember that you are not meant to devise evil against this person, for you don't know when you might need them, then that truth, that realization sets you free to actually walk in love with everyone. I remember this weekend when I saw from a friend's WhatsApp status, and of course I went online to check out the story about how there's a certain model who had been killed, and he had been killed in his own house, and it had happened over like on the 31st. But on the 5th and the 6th, when the family filed a missing persons report, the neighbors are the ones who actually helped the police solve the crime, because the neighbors had started smelling a certain smell from the neighbor's house. And as they probed and knocked at the door, there was no call. But they called the police officers came, and they found a dead body in the house. And as they did the investigations, the neighbors are the ones who actually said on this particular day they had seen 2 or 3 of their friends pass by. And as the investigation proceeded, they were able to identify and note that these were the friends that had actually been in the house. And long story short, they were found guilty of the murder. And it was okay. Apparently, they're still being investigated. But yes, those were the neighbors are the ones who helped them discover the cause of the situation. And when I think about it, so many soap dramas, so many movies on Netflix, when you think about it, there's always this neighbor who's peeping out of their window, or this neighbor who's just walking around, and through that incident sees something, and this seeing something leads to something else. And so imagine if you had devised evil against this person, you used to pass them, insult them, tell them, why are your things on my side of the corridor? Why are you parking your cars when your guests come near my gate? You should park them as far as possible. When you see their dogs come, actually, let me tell you, these things are real. When your neighbor's dog pass, I call the estate management that their animals are causing a racket in the estate. And one day, let me tell you, one day sooner than later, you discover that you need this person. Your car just has a puncture, and as the only person who you can run to or call, your phone that day has decided that's the day it's going to not work, and the only person you can call is your neighbor. And the reason why I share these proverbs is sometimes you can think this word was written 2,000, 5,000 years ago and doesn't apply to our current life. But every day, nothing has changed. Nothing is new under the sun. The same stories that happen in Joseph's time, Abraham's times, Jesus' times, our times are the same. The only thing basically I think that changes with time is technology. The fact that I can communicate with you in an instant from my phone. Those are the only things that have changed. But the emotion of having a neighbor, speaking to your neighbors, leaning on your neighbors for help, those things don't change. I remember one time when I was cooking I had guests who were coming over, and I had bought every ingredient, and I honestly thought I had my pilau masala. But as I am there, ready now to begin cooking, I realized I don't have pilau masala. If the thought of running to the nearest supermarket would have taken me like 40 minutes, I have like 1 or 2 hours to go to make my food for my guests. And let me tell you, with no shame in my heart, I just ran to my neighbor's house and told them, Madam, I need pilau masala. I will refund you the moment I get time. And in that moment, who saved me? Who came through for me in that time of need? Not my brother, not my sister, not my best friend, but the neighbor who God placed next to me. And you might have children, especially when you have children. You really want to live at peace with your neighbors. For these neighbors are the ones who will call you when they see an incident happening within the neighborhood, or they notice someone dodgy, or they notice something funny happening around your kids' play area. You just want to have a rapport with your neighbors who can tell you, you know what, your help is actually not treating your child well. When your children are dropped in the evening, they get stranded on the road, and that brotherly love, that sisterly love with your neighbor is what will help you thrive in life. So I just wanted to bring these proverbs to you as a reminder that don't think things have changed. Well, there's the same emotion that was there, and the reason God gives us this word is so that we can be able to become better. So remember Proverbs 3:9-29. Do not devise evil against your neighbor, for he dwells by you for safety's sake. So my tip for this week is, if you see your neighbors as you drive by, as you pass through the stairs, please say hi. Just say hi. How are you doing? How have you been? And that hi may be your ticket of safety one day.